Crystal Shines, it's Michelle here, and I think this will be the last video you see for a while of this shirt, but who knows, because maybe the next time I fill this streak to do a whole bunch of videos, I'll be wearing the same thing. I have seriously recorded like 4 or 5 videos just now, and it was been a lot of fun. And I wanted to record another one. This one, again, is in my planner. This is my planner I'm going to be using for 2020. So this is kind of a planner video, but it's kind of also not. One of the things that I have decided to do, and having it in my planner has been really helpful for this, is to record how I respond to the moon. So this is my moon tracker, and I have been coloring it in, and there's a lot of different things you can track with the moon, and there's a couple of different ways that you can do it. Some people actually choose to track it by month, and they will do this. Like, I think I might have bought this one on Etsy, but I might have found it for free. This particular chart, it's the one that I liked the best out of the different moon charts that I found, and I colored in all of the things so that I could see where the moon is. So you can see this one's very dark. This one down here is very bright. Some people track it by the date, so they'll track it from the 1st through the 31st, or the 1st through the 30th, or 29th or 28th, depending on February. Like this next February is having 29 days. Some people will track it like that, so their moon chart will start on the 1st of the month, and they will just mark where all the things are. I'm not like most people. I wanted to actually see the moon phase itself. So I started this one on November 26th with the new moon, and it finishes on December 25th, because the next new moon will be on December 26th. And so I will start a new chart on December 26th, and it will either have a 28 or 29 day chart depending on how many days are in that particular chart. So this particular one had 29 days, or did it have 30? This one kind of goes into 30. I do have to say, it's kind of funny. For those of you on the East Coast, so awesome for you guys. You guys had, on December 12th at 12:12 a.m., you guys had the full moon. That is pretty cool. That is pretty awesome. My new moon actually came on December 11th at 10:12 p.m., which is a little disappointing, but still really awesome. New moons are great. So I've been tracking the new moon, or the moon cycle. This is what I am tracking. First of all, I put the dates. So on my outside row, I put the dates that the moons are happening. The next row in right here is my evening attitude. So like my late afternoon, evening, what kind of mood am I having? And I have a bunch of moods down here that I will color in for my mood, so that I can just look at this and kind of see what my mood is like, and then I can look and see if it has any correlation with the moon. Now, it may take a few cycles to really actually see how much my mood is affected by the moon, but this is what I'm doing. There are also other circumstances. I'm on crutches. I've been stuck pretty much, or at least like that's what it has felt like. I have been in a very unique circumstance in my life for a month and a half now, and it's gonna be my appointment with the surgeon is on the 2-month mark. So who knows, it could even be 3 months before I even have my surgery. Hopefully it doesn't take that long. Hopefully the surgery is really soon after I meet with the surgeon. So we're looking at 2.5, 3 months before I had the surgery, and then however long it takes to be able to get off of crutches again. So, and then whatever it takes to heal. So this has been a very unique time in my life, and so my mood and other things are highly affected by that. But I still can start tracking the moon and see. I know that around the new moon, I had a lot of feelings of depression, and they kind of went away towards probably almost what would be getting pretty close to the first quarter. They went away. And now that we're getting closer to the third quarter, the depression is coming back. Isn't that interesting? I don't know if this is a cycle for me or if it's just a unique month or time for me. But the more I do the cycles, I can find out that, and that's why I'm tracking the moon is to see how the moon affects certain areas of my life. So right now I have an evening attitude and I have a morning mood. Some people just do a daily mood, but I find that my mood is different. And so I wanted to track both. And I also track my motivation. How much motivation do I have? And is that affected by the moon? Do I have more motivation the more there is moon? Because the moon gives off its own kind of energy, right? So do I have more motivation at a full moon and less at a new moon? That's one of the things I'm tracking. I'm also, for myself, tracking there's 4 categories of colors for clothing to see if the color of clothing affects my mood. So like this would be a 4. And just I'm curious if that affects my motivation, and I don't know if I'll be able to see that with this where I'm tracking the moon, but it's something for me that I'm tracking with this, and it's really easy for me to just write one of the numbers in. So I'm tracking my motivation. I'm also tracking my sleep. That's why I liked this one, because it had multiple places, so I could track my sleep and see if the moon is affecting my sleep. A lot of people feel affected by the moon for sleep. I'm not sure if it does. I'm also sleeping on this couch, and I'm sleeping with a knee that is having problems, so it's hard to say, is it the moon affecting my sleep, or is it the fact that I'm not sleeping in my space and I'm sleeping in kind of an uncomfortable, like I have to sleep on my back, which is not my typical way of sleeping. Like, are these things affecting it, or is the moon affecting it? So this is also where continuing to track this can show me if the moon is affecting it, and continuing to track this even after I start feeling better and can sleep in my own space again, will it change? So I'm excited to see that. The other thing I do is I've started, like, it's usually a word of the month, and I'm kind of keeping it as the word of the month, but I'm doing it more of setting it with the cycle. So the cycle this month is peace. That's my intention for the cycle, is to feel peace. And I have been doing a lot of healing so that my body can get to a place of peace, my mind can get to a place of peace. It has been incredible. So I am keeping track of that. Some things to think about with the moon and the cycle of the moon. It's kind of like seasons. In winter time, it's a time for hibernation, it's a time for rest, it's a time for reflecting. It's kind of the downtime of the seasonal cycle. As spring comes, you start to have a little more energy, but you don't want to overdo it. And it's time when you start like really planning what you want, and you're like kind of get excited for it. And then you move into the summer, where it's like you have tons of energy, like you could go pretty much all day, everything feels great, you have a lot of energy. This, summertime is this time where there's plenty of time in the day, like the sun is up for a long time, it's just amazing. And then you start going into the fall, where you start letting go of things, you start harvesting. That's the time of harvest. So you start seeing the results of what you did over the spring and summer, because spring you planted the seeds, summer you grew the garden, where it didn't take much effort, and then in the fall you start harvesting. And you start preparing to go back into the winter. The moon does the same thing. You have the new moon, where it's a time of rest, where it's mostly dark. Then as you start moving into a little more of like that first quarter, you get more of that place where you plant the seeds. You start making some plans for what you want to experience over the next 2 or 3 weeks. But you start to feel like you have more energy if the moon is really truly affecting you the way that everybody says it does. You would feel more energy, and I noticed that I've noticed that a couple times. And now I'm tracking it, so I can really notice that it's doing this. And then in the summer, or in the new moon, that's when there's tons of energy. There's so much energy, and that's when you can be the most productive for that cycle. And so you like have more things going on, and then you start to see the results and pull in the harvest of that cycle during as it moves into the third quarter, and then you start moving back into rest and reflecting in that last cycle, and it continues. Now, I think that when you take this cycle and you put it, and your cycle may not be quite in coinciding with the moon. If you're a woman who's still menstruating, follow that cycle. Otherwise, you can kind of get an idea of your own cycle as you're going. Now, take that cycle. So you have these mini moon cycles, right? You have these little moon cycles. Now put it on the seasons. Your moon cycle in the winter, what you're going to do in that full moon time is not going to be this big, amazing, wow thing as much as the cycles that are happening in the summer, because you have this little cycle within the big cycle. So you're still going to have like more of a resting cycle, but you're still going to have more energy during that cycle. So you want to keep your plans to fit also the season of the year. So when you're making your moon plans for a cycle in January, as that's what we're coming up to, is the December 26th to, I haven't even looked at when the moon cycle ends, but you have this one that mostly covers January. You're still in a winter period of life. You're still in a reflective period. Unless you're in Australia, then you're on the opposite, and awesome for you. So you want to have your things be lower. So this is more of a time of, okay, we're going to make plans this time. We're going to make our year-long plans during this cycle. And when we're at the peak of the cycle, that's where we're really we're writing down our plans. We're getting it ready. We're getting it to go. Considering, as we're making our plans, that the summertime is when we want to do the most work on this plan. The spring is when we want to plant the seeds. January, or wintertime, is when we're still reflecting and kind of starting to get ideas of what we want, and plan our year accordingly. If we were to use that kind of thinking when we're setting our resolutions, imagine what would be different. Instead of thinking, okay, it's January, it's a new resolution, let's get this thing going, and we start acting. When we're still in a place of rest and hibernation, of reflecting, instead of thinking, okay, we're going to reflect. This is kind of what I would want. This is kind of what I'm thinking about. How would this be beneficial to me? And kind of be in a reflective space, and then start planting the seeds as the spring time comes. Start really working on it during the summertime, and then start harvesting it during the fall, getting yourself ready. So applying these cycles, applying the moon cycle and the seasonal cycle into your lives. And one of the ways that you can really know what your cycle is doing is to track it. Yeah. So that's my little tidbit for you. It's kind of it's not really a planner thing, but it's something I'm doing in my planner, and I'm really excited about this. I've enjoyed having this place that I turn to. The other thing that I do, and I can show you here if I can find it really fast. I have a checklist, and I'll talk about it in another video, of things to do every morning as I'm preparing my daily. And I have written record moon on here so that I remember every day to turn to that section in my planner, because I don't always remember that. And since I'm still working in this one, I actually have a kind of a temporary, less pretty version of it here that I move from page to page in my planner so that I can remember. And one of the things on it is record the moon. It's what are you grateful for today? What are you looking for today? But we'll talk about that in another video. Okay, there you go. I kind of got rambly at the end. I love you guys. Remember to let your light shine big, bright, live, and beautiful. And part of that is acknowledging and recognizing that you are a being who acts in seasons. You have seasons going on with your body. You have seasons going on with the world. You have seasons going on in your life. And when you can remember that, it makes it a lot easier to shine, because you're not trying to fight where you're at in your cycle. If you're in a cycle where it's time to reflect, or let a part of your life die and mourn for that, take that time for yourself and not try to be super bigger than life. If you are in the summertime, of your life or your season or the moon or whatever, maybe you have a lot more energy and you can shine even brighter. It doesn't mean you don't shine in all the times. It just means you choose how you shine or how much you shine with respect and working with your seasons. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I love you guys. Bye.